What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Scott Proctor, joined as always by Matt Morrison. We're back with another episode of Simple Question, but this time we'll have more than one because we got a special guest joining us today for the very first time, a three-time Super Bowl champion, NFL MVP, two-time NFL MVP, I should add. It's Steve Young. Steve, thanks so much for joining us, my man. How are we doing today?
I'm glad I'm worthy of more questions. Okay, I like that.
We love to see it. We love to see it. We got to start right here in the Bay with the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy has just been special. Fifth rookie quarterback to win his first 4 starts in the NFL. Steve, how impressed have you been with Brock Purdy stepping in after the injuries to Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance and keeping the San Francisco 49ers one of the best teams in the NFC?
Well, they said in the summer when he's in camp that he obviously played a lot of football and was really heady, and the moment's not too big. So in that way, a person's psyche has to be ready for the NFL, and as a young player, usually you have to grow into it. And every once in a while, you run into somebody that doesn't necessarily have to grow that much, and that's a huge benefit to Brock. The things that made him created the image that he would be drafted in the 7th round haven't gone away, but it doesn't mean that you can't go to the Super Bowl and be an All-Pro and be a Hall of Famer. So I don't know what his ceiling is, but right now what you're seeing is a heady, calm, present force on the field at a very young age, which is pretty cool.
Just a follow-up to that, Steve, do you see in Brock Purdy the type of guy, at least in year one, in terms of this postseason, a guy who can help lead the 49ers to their ultimate goal, which is winning a Super Bowl?
I mean, everything's brand new. I mean, so this is what does he going to look like in his 6th start? I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. You know, what is he going to be when he's on the road behind? Well, we saw a little bit of that in Vegas, but it was really a home game. So, what is it going to be like when he throws 3 interceptions? Because that's coming. I don't know, but we're going to live it out. And what I do know is that he's probably not going to be freaked out. He's probably what he's done so far in 5 games is kind of replicable. It's stuff that there might be some oil leaking on the edges, in either direction. But generally, I think what you see is what you get. And that's probably a really good thing.
Yeah, it definitely is, and he's been fun to watch, and it obviously adds a lot of interesting stuff to the offseason. So what do you think his success does to Trey Lance and what the 49ers do at the quarterback position moving forward?
Well, it takes any pressure off of the Jimmy Garoppolo conversation, I think. but yet that's what I mean. Jimmy's an amazing dude, and I got to give him so much credit for navigating the last couple of years. Kyle is it's not easy, I'll say. And Jimmy dealt with all of it and really productively. And so he'll get the benefit of it now, but I don't get the sense that they'll work hard to resign. I just feel like they're going to run with Brock and Trey at this point. And now, Trey's really behind because he hasn't played. And Brock is really ahead because he's had success at really key moments. It's just part of the NFL. And I think that's how the offseason will start.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. And the 49ers are going to have a lot of questions to answer this offseason, particularly at the most important position.
They have a lot of answers.
True. Yep. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best people to answer.
Where they were 4 months. I mean, it's amazing how things have worked out, but it's not like they're bereft of answers. And I think what was going to be awkward is if Jimmy was in complete control, the 49ers forced to try to sign him, and that dance step would have been,
ugly.
An interesting. I don't know, ugly. It just would have been another chapter in the Jimmy Garoppolo saga.
No doubt about it. I want to talk about another quarterback, a lefty quarterback in particular, in Tua Tagovailoa. He's unfortunately ruled out for this weekend's Super Wildcard matchup with the Buffalo Bills, but he's shown real flashes in year 3 this season after a lot of criticism after his first 2 seasons in the NFL. What have you seen out of Tua in year 3 in the flashes, and what do you make of a lot of the uncertainty surrounding his future with Miami, with obviously the concussions and the injury history?
You're watching around the league a number of coaches who have shown up who are quarterback elevate the whole quarterback in all that they are. And you're seeing that with Jalen. You're seeing that with Tua. You're seeing at Kirk Cousins with O'Connell. You're seeing that with we've seen it with Kyle and Brock. You're seeing, just people are getting the full measure of their quarterbackness. And Tua was not a flash. Tua was better fundamentally. He had some rough patches in that Charger 49er kind of the last little wave here. But I thought he was a substantive, real, replicable quarterback with Mike McDaniel. Mike is a guy that if I had a son, very clearly I'd want him to be with him, And so I do have a son, but he's not going to play quarterback. But I have two of them just to give them respect. But I think that we're finding that if Tua went to another place that didn't have that kind of support, he'd be like a lot of other guys, like all of us that need support. And so, if you want Tua proved to me with proper support, he could be a really good player. Now, how good, Steve? Could he take him to the Super Bowl? Yeah. Can he be all pro? Yeah. Could he be a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I think that he's a good player. And I worry about him as people worry about any of us that had concussions through the years and so forth. But I'm grateful for Miami taking a very conservative approach after taking a very aggressive approach. And we'll see if that plays for him in the long term to his health. But as far as Tua being an answer at quarterback with Mike McDaniel, the answer is yes.
Yeah, they've been great together, and obviously we hope that he's going to be able to continue to play because he's fun to watch. And, Steve, you guys are going to be down on site in Tampa for ESPN NFL Countdown. What are your thoughts on that game, Cowboys versus Buccaneers?
Well, the Cowboys should win the Super Bowl. They have a Super Bowl. Like Jerry Jones told you all year, I have a Super Bowl roster.
Yeah, we've heard plenty from him.
Yeah, he likes to say that.
I feel like that's reasonable statement.
Yep. It is.
But it doesn't come out in its actual usefulness. We get this up and down, this mercurial kind of flashes of brilliance and then wandering. And it has to be like any team that doesn't show the kind of requisite grit every week to go and kind of reprove how great you are, they're missing something in the locker room. And most of the time it's not talent. It's somehow how the interaction of the group and the leadership doesn't bring forward the grit that's necessary to go every week and prove we have a Super Bowl roster and let's go. We will not give an inch. And there's something missing. And I would love it to catch fire. And sometimes it's fake it till you make it because you don't have it till you have it. And so, a win in Tampa and another win because they need it, and then they go, get to the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden they have those missing ingredients of grit that they've been missing for, and if you ask me, for decades. Yeah. And so, anyway, that's how I feel about the Cowboys. I would not be shocked if they're phenomenal and really ran the table in the NFC. Wouldn't shock me. But it also wouldn't shock me if they get beat this weekend by a Buck team that can't run the football, can't really protect, can't get downfield and get open very much. I mean, Mike Evans did a couple of times recently, but has no separation. A defense that's okay, other than if Tom Brady wasn't there, you'd talk about the Bucs as
absolutely.
Yep.
But Tom's there, so game on. Yeah. Would I be shocked if Tom ran the table? No, but with that team right now, that's some heavy weight that's on his shoulders.
Yeah, and Steve, about that grit, do you think that's going to have to come from the coaches, or is that going to be a player that steps up and is finally
I've said this before, and I kind of still believe it. When you put on a Dallas Cowboy jersey, you're famous, and you haven't earned it. You, the person, haven't earned it. And I think that generally this idea that the Cowboys are important when you haven't earned it, like everyone else in the league has to go earn that importance, but the Cowboys somehow get given it. And like anything, if I earned the money for my bike when I was 10 years old, I love that bike a lot more than if somebody gave it to me. Right. So it's just simple as that in some ways in my mind. And I think they have to go earn. And then I think that's when it'll come into that locker room. And I also would love, if Mike McCarthy's going to stick around to give until Jerry gives the head coach the full measure of authority. So the players in the locker room know that if the head coach tells you something, that's the way it is. But the problem is head coach says something and the players are like, well, I don't know if that's the way it is. Let's go check with Cary to see how it really is. I just think it's a bad system.
And that's why I think that matchup in particular is so intriguing, because the variance of result is so wide. I could easily see the Bucs blowing the Cowboys out and vice versa. And I think the Week 18 showing from the Dallas Cowboys losing to the Washington Commanders, who were starting a 5th-round rookie making his first start in a game where you were the Cowboys, you had something to play for. You were still alive for the NFC East title with a win over Washington, and you just completely lay an egg heading into the playoffs. That doesn't bode well for their chances to me.
How can you explain that? Explain that to me.
I mean, I was hoping you would be able to, Steve, because
I've been screaming into the wind that this team is missing the requisite grit, and then they do that, and then everybody yells at me, "Oh, they're the best ever!" I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I think at least I have an answer for it. I don't know how to get there, but I think I understand the problem.
No doubt about it. Steve, you had a legendary moment. You were throwing 6 touchdowns in the Super Bowl against the Chargers, looking to your San Francisco 49ers sideline saying, "Somebody please get this monkey off my back." Just an all-time iconic NFL moment. I'm curious if there's a quarterback in particular who's going to be playing this postseason that you think could get the monkey off his back, or you would love to see get the monkey off his back, whether that comes in the form of a first playoff win or just a legit deep playoff run.
Well, no one has the ape that was on my back. What are the silverbacks? I mean, but everyone has something that they're trying to, kind of prove through a Super Bowl. Super Bowls do that. That's the amazing miracle of Super Bowls, is that's indisputable. Even MVPs and deep playoff runs can't do. Super Bowls have a magical effect. And so for those, Josh Allen, Buffalo, I mean, can you imagine if Josh Allen brings a Super Bowl to Buffalo after Jim Kelly couldn't do it?
Yep.
I mean, that's as big of an effect as you can have. I think that's the one that stands out amongst the teams that I think have a chance.
Yeah.
Joe is, between Patrick, Joe, and Josh, they're just going to, for the next 10 years, it's the 3 of them. Justin Herbert might join if he gets the help that's necessary, but that's no NAFC team has a chance. They have a chance to beat one of them. They have 0 chance to get to the Super Bowl. And so the playoffs are all about those 3 just beating each other up. So Joe beating everyone up in the regular season, cool, but not what it's going to really matter. So, I think Joe getting there, because Patrick's already been there. So the 3 of them in the next, in 2033, we're on this together. And we said, how many Super Bowls does Phil, how many Super Bowl appearances does Josh have versus Joe versus Patrick? It's going to be all 10 will be with those 3, but who gets them all? Right. And I think that's going to be fun to watch. And so that's a big deal. Any other monkeys? Not really I mean, the Cowboys, just what we just talked about. I was going to mention Dak. I'm sure he has 2 decades of monkeys that they could get off their back that, could be amazing. And
Kirk Cousins kind of comes to mind, maybe perhaps, because obviously.
Yeah, well, it would be redefining, Kirk. I think that when I say monkey off the back, it's like you're already there, but you just can't. You're in the room, but you can't close the door. Yeah. What I mean? Like, you got to be able to just be done with it. Where Kirk, it would be amazing. It'd be a accentuation to kind of where he's been for a long time. So, but I don't see it as much as the monkey on his back. I think he's taken a lot of that off this season. He had basic stuff, right? Monday night, big games, interceptions late in games. How can you come back? Like, he had a bunch of stuff he solved this year in the best way that he's ever done. Now it's all gravy in some ways.
No doubt about it. That's awesome stuff. Absolutely. That's awesome stuff, Steve. Thanks so much for joining us. That insight was awesome. For your boy Scout Proctor, for Matt Morris and Steve Young, go catch him on Monday Night Football countdown for Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Dallas Cowboys. But for us 3 here, catch on next episode of Simple Question.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out our other videos, and don't forget to smack that subscribe button down below while you're at it. Also, for more great and original content, head right over to bvmsports.com.